Hello everyone and welcome. We are in the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. They've taken the beast of an engine out of the Hellcat and they've transplanted it inside of a Jeep Grand Cherokee. 6.2 liter V8, 707 horsepower in a Jeep, in an SUV. So hypothetical scenario, you and a friend both have $85,000 to kill. And you go to the Dodge dealership and you go to the Jeep dealership, you know, they're side by side, it's all FCA. And so your friend decides they want a Demon, they buy themselves a Demon, you buy yourself a Jeep Trackhawk, both of the cars around $85,000, assuming the dealer plays nice and lets you have it for MSRP. Again, it's a hypothetical situation. So then you both decide you're gonna go to a local airstrip and see how fast your cars can go. So your friend gets in his Demon, you get in your Trackhawk, you start out, you know, you're lined up, you're ready to go, the flag drops, I guess, I don't know, somehow the race starts. Point is, the Demon's going to have you, even though this is all-wheel drive, the Demon's going to launch much harder than you. 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds in the Demon versus 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds in this Jeep Trackhawk. But that's not where the story ends. As you continue down that airstrip, eventually you're going to reach 168 miles per hour. And at that point, the Demon is done. It's finished. That's where it tops out. And this Jeep, an SUV, continues to travel all the way to 180 miles per hour in a Jeep. In a Jeep. It's absurd that a sport utility vehicle is going to travel at 180 miles per hour. So why is the Demon only topping out at 168 when it has more horsepower? Well, it's a small technical reason, and that's because the tires that were developed specifically for the Dodge Demon, these Nitto drag radials that are basically as close to being not street legal as possible, they're derated for their speed, so they're a W rating for speed, which means they can only travel up to 168 miles per hour, and as a result, the Dodge Demon is electronically limited to 168 miles per hour. On the other hand, this Jeep has some 295s. They're not some special crazy compound, specifically, you know, for the Dodge Demon to make that insane quarter-mile pass. And so as a result, it has a higher speed rating, and this is going to be probably aerodynamically limited to 180 miles per hour. I don't know if you honestly want to go much faster than that in an SUV anyways, but that's what it goes to. Now, the Dodge Demon, if you were to put different tires on it, you can change the setting and allow, you know, remove that limiter so that you can't exceed it. And the Dodge Hellcat Widebody actually has a top speed of 195 miles per hour, and that's with 707 horsepower rather than 840 in the Demon. So in the Demon, you could probably hit 200 miles per hour, assuming, you know, you get the right tires for it. Now, the reason they did that is because in order to have the maximum amount of longitudinal grip with the Dodge Demon, which they want for the quarter mile, they went with this softer compound that wasn't rated quite as high for speed. And so Nitto came back to Dodge and they said, look, if you want the tire to travel faster, we can do that. We can make a tire that will last higher speeds and hold up for these higher speeds. But if you want maximum longitudinal grip, 168 miles per hour is as fast as you're going. And because the Dodge Demon was developed, you know, to be the fastest in the quarter mile, past 168 miles per hour doesn't matter. It's hitting 140 mile per hour trap speed. And so, you know, they were willing to make that sacrifice in top speed for the fact that, you know, you get better grip. And it definitely shows. I drove the Hellcat Widebody today, which has 305s on it, and they do not have near the grip of the 315 Nittos on the Dodge Demon. So much more grip in the Dodge Demon. Even with the 305s in the Hellcat Widebody, it had no problem, you know, 50 miles an hour, you put your foot down, you're going to just spin tires. You're not going to actually hook up. So I guess a little bit of a disappointment there in the fact that it seems like the wider tires on the Hellcat definitely help for handling. I'm not sure how much more grip you actually get out of it. I was having trouble putting the power down when I was driving it. But this Jeep does not have that problem because it's all-wheel drive. So let's go ahead and drop a few speeds. Get it into second gear there. We'll put it in third. Oh man, this thing is quick. And let's go down to second there and see what that's like. Oh man. Yeah, so as you can tell, no problem putting the power down with the all-wheel drive system. And the all-wheel drive system in this is actually pretty cool. One of the things they've done is they allow to change that torque split depending on what mode you're in. So in automatic mode, it's going to put 40% to the front, 60% to the rear. If you put it in snow mode, of course, you want even traction distribution, so it's a 50-50 split. If you put it in tow mode, you might want a little bit more power up front, and so it gives you 60 at the front, 40 in the rear. So it's pretty dynamic in how it can change it. Put it in sport mode, 35% up front, 65% in the back, and then put it in track mode, and you've got 30% up front, 70% in the back. So a very dynamic system, able to, adapt to whatever you need it for, and it's cool that you can also, change to a front torque bias rather than only a rear bias. But it's a neat system that actually allows for quite a different range of setups depending on what you're using it for. So how does the thing drive? Well, they've put wide tires on it, 295s all the way around. They're summer tires, and they've lowered this Jeep a bit versus the regular Grand Cherokee. But that said, it's still an SUV. You don't forget that you're in an SUV. You feel the heft. This thing's over 5,300 pounds, and body roll, yes, definitely exists. It's certainly an SUV, but it is quick, and it can definitely handle it for what it is. It can definitely put the power down, which is certainly appreciated. Can it handle some tight corners? You're going to have to battle that weight. So ultimately, it's not the most track-capable vehicle out there, but as far as a track-capable SUV, yes, very much so. 180 miles an hour, that's just insane. That's what, an SUV in the year 2017 can achieve. It's just wild what's happening with cars. They are getting so fast. We're in track mode. Oh goodness, the acceleration definitely isn't going to get old. Let's just come to a stop. I'm not going to do launch control yet, but I will do just a brake pedal stop. Wow! Whoa! Oh man, actually I did have a little wheel slip there. That was crazy. In first gear, I felt like this front was spinning a little bit, but again, this is in track mode, so it's only got 30% going to the front, most of it going to the rear. Wow, that was cool. Man, in first gear, the gearing is aggressive, and so, you match that with so much torque, so much power, and the acceleration is unreal. Oh yeah, so we do have, it looks like traction control is on, it's on track mode, so it limits it and allows for a little bit of slip, and I definitely did notice that coming out from a dig, just in first gear. In second gear and beyond, it seemed to hold just fine, but a little bit of traction loss, which is crazy. All-wheel drive, this thing weighs 5,300 pounds, and it's still breaking some tires a little bit loose. In the dry sun, that's pretty incredible. It kind of speaks to how much torque is really just getting put to the ground, or not put to the ground because it's spinning. No, but seriously, it's a lot. And one of the things I really like about the Hellcat Charger is that it has very much so a split personality. So you can just cruise around in it. It's a nice, comfortable sedan, large sedan, and then you put your foot down and all of a sudden things get really violent. And it's the same case with this, which is cool that they've kind of preserved. I mean, this thing still just feels like a cheap Grand Cherokee, which is a nice place to be. And then you put your foot down and all of a sudden it's a monster. Oh my goodness. Wow. Just does not let up. Wow. Have I said wow enough? But yeah, it's comfortable. It floats around a little bit. It actually feels pretty planted when you're really going for it. But like I was saying, it's soft. It has body roll, so you get that SUV feel. It's comfortable. It's quiet in here. It's a nice environment to be. And I also really like about these engines is that if you give them a small amount of throttle, not anything past 50%, but if you give it a little bit of a throttle, you can really hear that supercharger whine, and I love that sound. Just a nice partial throttle sound. If you're cruising, it gets nice and quiet in here. If you go a partial throttle, you get that cool supercharger whine, and if you put your foot down, scare the out of everybody. I mean, throttle is great. It truly is great. It's got perfect response. It's supercharged. It's the big V8. You're not lacking in throttle response. And so the throttle pedal application is fantastic. I really like it. The brake pedal, on the other hand, I feel like it's pretty light. And the first decent amount of travel, it's just real soft, and you feel like you're in this big SUV. You might need to compensate and brake a little bit harder. With a real light pedal effort, you actually get quite a bit of braking. So to me, it doesn't necessarily feel fitting for the vehicle. It's easy to drive, it's comfortable to drive, and then once you really get in there, it starts to become more pressure sensitive rather than travel sensitive as far as how much braking you get. But I feel like for the size of the vehicle, it feels like a light amount of pressure required. The steering, yeah, it's an SUV. I mean, you don't get that sports car feeling where it feels super direct and super precise. I don't have complaints about it. It's just there's nothing really fantastic about it. It's soft. There's not a whole lot of feedback coming through to you. I guess these are complaints. So I do have complaints about the steering, but it's just so often this is just the battle of an SUV. You've got a high center of gravity, you have a vehicle that doesn't want to change directions quickly, and so when you have these turn-ins, it reacts after you want it to react, and so the steering feels like it's not perfectly connected. And that's, it's more of a case of the fact that this thing's super heavy, not that the steering design is terrible. So I'm okay with it. It's an SUV, and it drives like a comfortable SUV when you want it to. Well, I have greatly enjoyed driving this vehicle. This is one of the contenders in the Automotive Video Association's Performance SUV of the Year that I'm getting to try out. Along with, we also have a category of Performance Car of the Year, so there'll be different videos related to that. I'll include some links in the video description so you can find out more about this Automotive Video Association. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below.